I've thought about it, but I haven't really like thought about it. I guess you would say it's like because I'm easily distracted.
I got a peptide for that.
Right. That's what I said yesterday when she was for baptism. I was like, "You got to calm."
That's right. Okay. Well, let's just do an introduction podcast. So, I'm Joshua Redmond. I'm married to a beautiful woman. Her name is Jerry Lee Redmond, and we live here in Paradise, Texas. And
I'm Tim Horner. I'm also married to a very beautiful woman, Crystal Horner. I'm from a lifelong resident here of Paradise, Texas.
And so we're just kicking this off. Just going to be two guys talking about life, identity, and our health, and what God's doing to transform the way we look at things and how we move forward. And it's going to get crazy.
Right. So I'll tell you what, we had a good discussion last night over the identity class yesterday.
Yeah.
That one really, for some reason yesterday, I've enjoyed them all. That one yesterday was just like, wow.
Yeah. So what there's a wasp. That's fine. It's fine.
We got a peptide for that.
We got a peptide for that. It's called I Ain't Scared.
Right. We're working on that fear. We're building that bypass around that fear.
Yeah. What is fear rooted in? I got stung once. That's where it came from. So what about what was the conversation last night?
We
I can take it then.
So
I had some thoughts on yesterday's class, but it started with the sermon. So for those of you who don't know, Tim and Crystal and one of their kids got baptized yesterday.
Sure did.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that.
That was an exciting day yesterday.
Yeah.
Nerve-wracking, but it was an exciting day.
I couldn't stop smiling. I was up there and we were getting ready to do baptism. And I was just like, I noticed I was just like, my smile wouldn't come down.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is what, like, real joy from the Lord, like, just excited. So they got baptized yesterday, which is super cool. And we're going to talk about that at some point, for sure, probably today.
Yeah.
But so Chris was going over, he was supposed to be kind of doing a message on baptism, which led to that. But it started with talking about the ride and then the cost of following Jesus.
Yeah.
And then he went into the comfort, control, compromise. And what hit me with those that led into identity was like the fear aspect of it, right?
Yeah.
Because we're afraid to be uncomfortable, or we're afraid to not have control, and then we're afraid to let go of what we've known, to move in to what's next. And then we went to the class, and I was like, okay, fear.
Fear is what it's about today. I think that's one of the biggest things that we talked about yesterday when we was talking about fear and the fear of everything. I even talked about it a little bit in our small group last night. We talked about fear because of how external is internal. Because I forgot what was said about something, and I was like, that kind of goes back to what we learned about in this identity class today, how it's the external conflict is messing with the internal conflict, and the issue probably, you got to dig down deep and really ask God, what is it? And it's probably something you don't want to hear.
Yeah.
And then you find out that, at the end of the day, like Mark said yesterday, that, I don't trust that you'll take care of it, that God will take care of it. Which that spoke a lot to me yesterday, and I go, wow, I've never thought about it.
Me neither. Not like that.
No, I was like, that's unreal, and especially which is very interesting about what we're going through because, being raised in church and there's a lot of stuff we touched on here that I was like, I never was taught anything like that.
I wasn't either. So you were raised in church?
I was raised in a church there in Decatur. My mom and dad, fantastic people. Always made sure we were in church.
Yeah.
I mean, I even went to a Christian school there in Decatur. I don't even know if it's still around. I think it is. It was at Emmanuel Baptist there in Decatur, and it was great. A lot of that. The preacher at that church is. I'm not going to put him on a pedestal, but I have a lot of admiration for him. He's a good man. So like I said, I was raised in church, and it was one of those, the time kids are to be seen, not heard, and you dang sure didn't raise your hands.
Yeah.
Like, put those down. And I joke about this. It's funny. This one, that's more towards the end, later in the 2000s, more people were raising their hands, but I never did. And this is no fault of my parents, because I was telling somebody yesterday, I said, I feel if I raise my hand, my mom would be sitting behind me. Put the hand down.
Put your hand down. What are you doing?
What are you doing? So, I mean, I was all about it, but it's more getting into this stuff that, it's just like, even the last thing when I was fasting. I mean, I knew about fasting, but I never was really taught on it.
True. No, we weren't either. I was raised in Southern Baptist all my life. We were there when the doors were open. My parents, they taught me a lot. My dad preached. A lot of preachers in our family. But, I mean, stuff that I've known, that I've learned recently, it's like things that I knew, but I didn't, like, apply it.
Yeah.
Or didn't know how to. And so that's shifted a lot, and which has led me to, like, talk about how God is working in me about information. It doesn't bring transformation, and which we can get into that. But it's really started to change how we lead our family, and how we talk to other people. And that whole internal, external conflict, that was a big discussion with Jerry and I yesterday, because I was like, with our own family and our kids, I was like, okay, we're having external conflict. So what inside, is there something inside of us that's causing this situation to make us so frustrated and angry?
I'd say that's just been a lot of transformation in my household over the past 3 months. It's encouraging, and your thing, stepping out of what you've kind of been taught your whole life. Like, oh, that's using that fear and then getting around it, because, it's stepping out in faith is not an easy thing to do. But I think we talked about it yesterday. That one podcast, with Corey Russell. You don't look like an idiot just for a second, and the only reason you have that it's all up here.
It's all up here. A fear that we created or we took on at some point, because we're trying to look apart. And I think that, like, growing up in church, it was always about, for me, it was like, I got to look the part. You got to be the church. Well, what does that mean? Well, you got to look this way.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I think this goes back to something we talked about, was this, God keeps bringing back Romans 12:2 into, like, my mind. And we've studied it. I think we talked about it yesterday. Yeah. And then he says you're a pattern breaker. You're a pattern breaker. And so I keep rubbing against. I started rubbing. I always did. I can look back. I rubbed against the pattern. Like, I would hear something at church, and I'm like, oh, that doesn't seem right. There's got to be more to this. And then, even as a youth pastor, trying to teach you can experience freedom in Jesus, and if this Bible doesn't transform you, and you're just reading it to read it, then you might as well like get some other use out of it, a paperweight or whatever. I'm teaching this, and I don't even know what this means.
Right.
But it's like it's the right thing to say.
Checking that box.
Yeah, just trying to look that part, And I struggled with that for years, and that's still one of my fears. Which kind of leads like from what he was talking about, comfort, control, and compromise. And one of the reasons like I compromise, which like I hold on to what's behind me, is I'm afraid to let it go. I'm afraid to step forward because I feel like inside of me I'm not qualified.
Yeah, I struggled with that a lot with like forgiveness, and we've had a lot of those discussions about forgiving stuff in our past, because the devil gets in your head when you start stepping out in this, and that's one of the fears is you're not good enough. Yep. Look at what you did back here versus where you are now. People are going to say this, and a lot of it's in your head and trying to forgive yourself.
Yeah.
That's, I think a lot of people, that's a fear of theirs, struggling with that.
Yeah, you're right.
So
I think deep down, if we would ask the Lord, like we walked through this some yesterday, like what is it that's keeping me from moving forward? So for me, when I was asking, I was like, well, why can I not let it go? And literally God's like, well, your fear is that you're still unworthy. You're still dealing with that you're not qualified.
Yeah.
And so I dove off into that a little bit this morning and yesterday. It was like qualified. And I realized I've dealt with that for my entire, like, being in ministry, serving, teaching, or whatever. And it was spoken over me. So from good pastors, like good people, right? But unintentionally, they were speaking something that I was taking on as an identity of you're not qualified. Here's why. You didn't go to seminary. You don't have a certification. You don't da-da-da-da-da. Back then it was you're young. I can't say that now. But some might still say that. I know some that would still say that. You're still too young.
Yeah.
So you don't have that life experience. And then yesterday it was like God was like, again, Joshua, man doesn't qualify. He said, I qualify. And I wrote that down, like, while we were walking through that, was I'm not qualified by man, but I'm qualified by God. So stop depending on my own understanding to explain my circumstances.
Yeah.
And stop depending on everyone else's understanding. And just ask God.
Yeah.
Why do we make that so difficult?
Childhood. Because it was so funny. There was a preacher, rest his, the biggest thing, because I've been divorced. So he was got on that one day about raised that if you've been divorced, that's it. You're shunned over here.
Yep.
And he said he let one time this guy that was divorced that got into the ministry and let him preach. And they're like, why did you do that? He's divorced. Doesn't mean he can't go out here and serve God and all this other stuff. Yeah, you're putting him in a box saying you can't do that because of this. And I tell me and Crystal talk about this a lot, that you can't, your past doesn't define who you can become. You can't change your past. You can only change your future.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I still struggle with a lot of that, and it's been a journey, a lot of over the past 6 months,
Yeah.
Because I look back of just back when we met, and in the small group, Crystal didn't want to go to that, and I decided we're going, and that was the best. That was a move that I decided to not let fear take control of that. I'm like, we're gonna do it. We're just gonna do it.
Yep.
You know, it's kind of like when I have to try. Somebody goes, "Have you tried this?" I have a fear of like, I don't know. I don't want to try that. I don't want to eat that. And I have to get in my own mind and go. And then one day, I just out of the blue, we're doing it.
Doing it.
We're doing it. Let's go. And if she was here, she would say that was the best move we made. She's glad that she'd been on me about, I was I led the family. She wanted a little bit more, so she helped push me out of that comfort zone of fear to go where we're at. And I tell you, in 6 months, she could tell you, and she will. We'll have her on here sometime. Of where she came from 6 months ago to where she is now, and it's a lot of transformation for her out of the fear. And just the past, I'd say, 3 months. I told her, I said, "You're an inspiration to me. Like, I love it. You make me want to get out and do this stuff. You make me want to forget fear and step out there.
Yep.
And do it."
That's the same with Jerry. Like, I've seen her, and I'm just gonna bring this up, but since we became a part of Make Wellness, like, the growth that I've seen in her of stepping out, and she's always encouraged me to be the leader of the house, right? And she's always pushed me and encouraged me, and she's like, "I'm behind you, I'm behind you, I'm behind you." And then the last, since September-ish, whatever, she's like leaps and bounds from where she was. And so when I walk in, I drop the kids off or whatever, I come back in before I head off to go do whatever. She's in here. She goes, "Hey, you know what the Lord told me this morning?" And I'm like, "What?" Like, I can't wait to hear in the mornings. And some mornings it's like, I didn't hear anything today. And her time is like, I'm not here. She showers and she's reading or whatever. But her time is like, she'll get in the shower and she'll just hear from the Lord. Like, that's her place.
Mm-hmm.
And that used to not be. And then to see how bold she's becoming with communicating with other people about struggles or her life or how to minister to them. A lot of that, and I'll attest, it's what the Lord's been doing over the last 3 or 4 years in us, and the trials and the fire that we've been under that, we can talk about later. Make Wellness entered the scene, and so it's not just about the products part of it, but it came back to the leadership and the support that's encouraged her, and that have met with her individually, that have pushed her out of this shell of, I'm not going to talk to people. I'm not going to do that. She was a very much behind the scenes. And I always said, as I was walking through identity, like, it started with some other stuff called the working genius. And I was walking through this genius and stuff and what kind of personality I was as a leader and all this. And I pegged what hers was just from going through my own. And I was like, "You're this." And I said, hands down. She took this little test or whatever. She goes, "What'd you say?" And I'm like, "Da da 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 da." She goes, "Yeah, you nailed it exactly. Like, all 6 in a row." I'm like, "Because you and I said, you and I work like this. Like, we are puzzle pieces. So in ministry, or we worked at a school for a while, in education, I would like lead as a cast vision kind of, here's what I want to see, here's how I want it to work, and then I would grab her and I'd explain it, and I'd grab a few, I had other volunteers, and they would all fit in that, and then they would make what I saw happen. And so the same thing applies now with Make Wellness and ministry and impacting lives. It's all connected. We have to know who we are and how we fit together. And so since Make Wellness has come along, she has blossomed into, not only is she this enablement, tenacity type driven person, but now she's this vision cast, like, I want to be a filler of people. And she's always been good at that, but she was told that she needs to keep her mouth shut for so long. And I'm like, now she's starting to walk into, I want to fill people. I want to pour into their lives. And for so long, other people, even the last 3 years, she's heard like stuff like, well, you'll get there. And God's like, I'm the one
Yeah.
that fills people through you. You're the vessel. I just saw a picture of a water hose. You're the water hose. You're the soaker hose. Yeah. I'm going to lay you out, and you're going to hook up to me, and then we're going to go in and we're going to soak into people's lives. Yeah. That gave me chills. Yeah. I haven't saw it that way till just now.
It's so crazy how, and that's what one thing we got talking about. I said, it's amazing when you listen to other people, other point of views, and even from other denominations, there's stuff in there that you're like, well, I didn't think of it that way. And just like that was a good analogy. I mean, that's a pretty good one. Everybody can fit with it out here in the country. Yeah, I know what a soaker hose is. I like that. But that's the same way with Make Wellness with Crystal. That's why I decided let's do this, because and it's really pushed her out of her comfort zone and fear. And I mean, since the end of February, I mean, it's just like, wow. And just to watch her get involved and dive into the Word, I mean, I'm like, that's where I get back to an inspiration. Like, you make me want to do better just by the way she does things, and the growth and all this stuff. I mean, because even as little as less than a year ago, the transformation in her, because if it had been a year ago, she'd gone, no, not even new, and a lot of fear in that she's overcame. Yeah. And it's just like, wow.
Well, like, you're both a different person from the time I met you in life group. I mean, I remember the first day we were in that smaller room, and one thing Crystal said was, I don't talk. Like, that was it. I don't talk. And Shirley goes, she told me later that night, I don't know if she told Crystal, challenge accepted. Like, for my wife to say that, I was like, oh, right. You were that person. Like, you were the one that didn't talk.
I almost said that last night in our little group, which is that we still have, which is just still part of what that group was. It started back in September, and I talk a lot in there now, and I was like, I'll go back to when we first started. I'm just kind of like filling everybody out. Like, I'm not really gonna talk all that much until I really get to know you. I'm not getting out of that comfort zone. I'm going to stay over here in this little bubble, and which it didn't take long. So
no.
So yeah, it's again pushing outside that comfort zone, that fear. That's all it's rooted in.
Some conversations this week with some guys about, like, the question was posed, is fear from God or not from God? So I'll ask you. That's a mixed question.
That is a mixed question, especially watching that little video that we watched yesterday, which you're born with two fears. The fear of a loud noise and the fear of being dropped. The rest of it is from the people around you. So I would lean more along the lines of vast majority of the fears are not from God.
Okay.
That's the way I would go with it.
That's a good point.
So I know there'll be people that disagree with me on that, but that's okay. That's a good thing about it. That's what it's like. We're not all the same. What was it? There's a Chris Ledoux song. If we all sit down, we might not agree, but we probably figure out we got a lot more in common than we don't.
That's right. That's what this is about. Sick and tired of division, and separation when we can use this to connect to people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, hmm. So I had a thought on the fear aspect of being from God or not, was that I think, and we could go like super deep on this, but there's different meanings of the word fear,
Yeah.
like in Hebrew and Greek. And one is, guys, I'm not Greek and Hebrew. What was pakad? I think that's how you say it, right? And so, but that was like terror.
Yeah.
And like literally like get me out of here, fear. I don't want anything to do with it. And the other one was get here, and that was like a reverence and awe, and that's what that kind of fear was. But then the video we watched, so we watched the video yesterday. We'll give a little explanation. Was that they it was an experiment on a science network.
Yeah.
It looked like, where they placed, they said trained snakes who grew up with people, and they put them down with a bunch of like babies on the floor, and these snakes are slithering through, and the babies had no fear. They were grabbing and pinching. One even grabbed it by the head.
Mm-hmm.
One put his mouth on one of the snakes. You know, most of us adults were going, no, 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 no. But the babies weren't scared, because you're born with two fears, and that's the fear of falling and the fear of
being dropped.
Okay, so being dropped.
The drop. That's and you get that fear from your handler. Like you get the parents weren't in the video. They were off, because if the parents would have been there, the kids would have freaked out because they've never been exposed to anything like that. But the handler in there with the snake had no fear, so the kids had no fear. But at the end of the video, one of the kids started crying because it saw its mom's face, and the fear on mom's face
Triggered
that fear. Up until that point, there was none, and there's two kind of snakes I don't like. That's a live snake and a dead snake. I'm scared of them all.
Sorry for you snake people.
Exactly. Nothing against you. To me, that video spoke a lot to me. Like, wow, I've never delved into anything like that. That's interesting.
You know, I thought the same thing. One of the guys we were talking with about fear, he's like, well, I think it's one thing that it's okay to have a fear of a bear or a lion that's chasing you, right? And of course, then in my mind, I'm going, so is that a lack of faith? I mean, I'm not trying to say like we should go engage with a lion or a bear and say, let's fight.
Or be a snake handler.
Yeah. But then there's a story, I think it's in Samuel, maybe? I don't remember 1st or 2nd Samuel. I'll have to look it up. We can look it up. Yeah. But one of David's men, his name is Benaiah, he chased a lion down into a pit on a snowy day. And some of you may have read a book about this, but he chased it down and killed it. They didn't have a gun.
No.
Like it went in a pit, and he's like, okay, I'm going in the pit.
Right.
And so then when I'm going through this conversation this week about fear, and I'm going, well, he had no, like, I don't know if he had fear. I don't know what he was feeling or experiencing. But if he had fear, he went through the fear and killed the lion. Comes back, and he's like one of David's top guys.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure, because David's like, the dude chased a lion into a pit. You're going to be with me. You're right here. Why? Because you know how to walk through fear. Which then led me to, the comments were like, well, I know Daniel was in the lion's den, and I know that. I'm like, well, Daniel, again, he knew. God told him, here's what you're going to do. I'm going to walk through the fear. Yeah, I'm going in the lion's den, but am I going to say that God's not big enough to shut the mouths of the lion? So then I'm spiraling, not spiraling in a bad way, but spiraling in a good way. Like, oh my gosh, like, How many things, even including bears, lions, or whatever, do we find ourselves facing and we're going, I'm scared, I'm scared, I'm scared, I'm scared. And I look at all this and I go, is that a lack of faith? I'm hiking in the woods and a lion comes out, or a mountain lion or whatever, or a bear. Okay. How do I handle that in a way that says it's not going to bother me because God can shut. God, would you keep the mouth of that bear shut? Would you keep the paws away from me or my family in the name of Jesus, so that we can pass by through the fear? Instead of run, like run would be I'm scared, chase me, run, or I'm just going to keep walking. I see you. We're good.
It's almost like, not almost like, but you've seen those videos of people out. I've seen one they're fishing, and this bear comes running. This guy just, there's nowhere to go, so he just runs at the bear as wide as he can, and the bear turns and runs off. I'm like, never mind, I'm not dealing with this. And I was like, I'm sitting there going, I don't know if I could have done that. You know, but I get where I see, you're right, you know?
I mean, and that conversation that we were doing was like, I told Shirley about it this week, and she brings up David and Goliath.
Yeah.
Why wasn't he afraid? Was he? I mean, and I was like, that's a good point. I said, basically in that story, you've got the Israelites being taunted by the Philistines with Goliath, a giant. Send one man out. If I win, you serve us. Vice versa. And all of Israel is shaking. For days, they won't send anybody out. God's people, the people God rescued, David, a kid, walks out and he says, why are you still standing here? Look at him. David's like, so? My God's bigger than that.
Right.
Our God has delivered the Philistines into our hands. So why are you still standing here? That's crazy, that's crazy, that's crazy. And that's that. You step out in faith, you look crazy for a minute.
Yeah.
So David walks out on the field, and I'm sure, like, even the portrayals, like, I was watching The House of David. Have you seen that?
Mm-mm.
It's on Prime. Super good.
Is it?
Super good.
I've seen the previews to it. I need to watch it.
It's good. And then the movie David on Angel Studios.
Oh yeah.
It's like animated.
Yeah, I've seen pieces. I've seen more trailers of that.
Best animated film in my opinion, because again, like, it speaks to who God is and who he should be in our life. But David walks out, and I know they're all thinking he's nuts. And he should be afraid in everybody's mind, including the Philistines and the Israelites. And he goes and he says, no, you're mine. Why? Because God said so.
Right.
Faces the fear and walks through it. So we're doing all this, and that's what Jerry Lee reminded me. I'm like, yes, that's exactly right. How many other stories in Scripture where we should have been afraid? They should have been afraid. And they did it anyway. Because they went, no, we're not going to be afraid.
God's bigger.
My God's bigger. I heard Taylor Welch say on the most recent podcast, he goes, we're not persecuted in America. We think we are. So what are we afraid of? Right. But yet we still live in fear of stepping out, walking away, and not compromising.
Because of something he said yesterday. Your media, your news outlets, your social media.
That's right.
That's where your fear comes from, because they want you to be in fear. Because when you're in fear, you're weak.
Yeah, exactly right.
And the more people realize they step out of that fear, they can conquer anything.
So fear.
Rooted in fear.
It's all rooted in fear, and it's false.
Exactly.
A false identity that we take on, that we are trying to, we live by fear. We make choices out of fear. So why would we need to break the pattern. Choose to take our fear to God and receive the truth. My fear is I'm not qualified. So what do I do with that? I take it to God. God, I'm afraid I'm not qualified. I'm afraid what they're going to say. You're not certified. You're not qualified. You didn't go to seminary, blah, blah, blah. And this morning, God brought a scripture, so that's why I got my Bible here. Brought a scripture in front of me, and I'm going to read like a passage. In 1 Corinthians chapter 1, Paul's talking, he's approached the Corinthians. They're letting fear rule, right? They're letting the world determine how they operate. And Paul's like, I like Paul, and I like translating Paul in my own opinion, my own way, is, what are you doing, you bunch of idiots? Stop doing this. You have the power of Christ inside of you, so stop living according to the world's ways. Pattern breaker. In verse 17, he says, for Christ did not send me to baptize, but to preach the gospel, not with clever words, so that the cross of Christ will not be emptied of its effect. So first of all, we don't have to use clever words to preach Jesus or to share our story. And then he says, for those who are perishing, the message of the cross is foolishness, but to those who are being saved, it's God's power. For it's written, I will destroy the wisdom of the wise, and I will set aside the understanding of the experts. Qualified. Where's the philosopher? Where's the scholar? Where's the debater of this age? Hasn't God made the world's wisdom foolish? For since in God's wisdom, the world did not know God through wisdom, because God was pleased to save those who believe through the foolishness of the message preached. And then he says, I consider your calling. Not many are wise from human perspective, not many powerful, not many of noble birth. Instead, God chose the world's foolish things to shame the wise. And God has chosen the world's weak things to shame the strong. God chose the world's insignificant and despised things, the things viewed as nothing, so he might try to bring nothing, the things that are viewed as something, so that no one can boast in his presence. But from him you were in Christ Jesus, who for us became wisdom from God, as well as righteousness, sanctification, and redemption, in order that it is written, the one who boasts must boast in the Lord alone. So when I read that this morning, that screamed, again, God qualifies. Man's wisdom doesn't qualify. And he took the weak, he took the insignificant, and he used them, and he still uses those types of people. He uses others too, to further his kingdom and impact people. And just because all my life, like, I'm dead serious, it was like, you're too young, you need to go to seminary. The whole reason we moved to DFW, like, 18 years ago, I don't know, was for me to go to seminary. And it's still, like, I was like, no. You're telling me that the only way for me to make an impact in the lives of people is to go to seminary? I don't believe that.
I could see where, all through the Bible, he didn't use qualified people to further his kingdom or anything. He used the most unqualified, like, really? The society we live in today, really? You're using that guy?
Mm-hmm.
You know what he did?
Gosh, we still do that.
I know, exactly. And I'm like, there's no, you're right. Qualified comes through God.
Him and him alone.
Not the man.
We have to boast in him alone.
Mm-hmm.
Which leads me back to our team with Make Wellness.
Yeah.
When we started Make Wellness, we just asked God to bring us who needs to be a part of our team. We ask God to bring us customers who needs solutions for furthering their health. It's all been like God just put in front of us what needs to happen.
Yeah.
Burn in their heart and show them what you're doing with this company, this product that could impact their lives. And so as we put together our team, it's almost like God's putting together a team of people that, like for me, because it's something I deal with, is what the world would see as not qualified.
Yeah.
Pattern breakers.
The pattern breakers there.
Okay.
We're getting somewhere now.
Okay. All right.
I'd agree with you on that one. Without a doubt, we're definitely pattern breakers, and definitely the team is not your typical what you would stereotype people doing this to look like. But with Make Wellness, we got into it because there's something more, and we pray about that. Just put people in our lives because we want to help people. We want to be the light, not only in this, but let people see that not everybody's the same. Some of you look to people that you think are qualified to do something, and you'll learn more from the people that are not qualified than the people that get up there and say the right things, dance the right choreographed dance. These people over here, you'll learn more from. The people that that a life of drugs that turn their life to the Lord. I've learned a lot through them versus the person that grew up, did everything by the book, went to church, did that, and that's not knocking them by any means. I learned from them too, but I learned a lot more from the people that have been in the valleys and leaned into God through fear and everything else, and came out the other side, and that's quite the story to tell.
Yeah, same here. The more we keep walking into identity, and the more we pair it with, where we are with Make Wellness. Make Wellness is just a tool, just like anything else, right? And so it's a vehicle, and it brings more connections. So I'm connecting with people across the country right now because of Make Wellness. But some of those connections are not for Make Wellness.
Yeah.
It's for identity or for foster adoption or whatever. And so just allowing God to show me, or asking him, show me what this connection is about. Could be leadership development. So that's another path that I'm headed towards, right? Is show me what I'm supposed to be doing on this side. Something through this whole last few months, God's been telling me, because I have this mindset from growing up, I call it programmed.
Yeah.
In order to get ahead, you have to work hard constantly and look for ways to get ahead. And I said, look for angles. So every connection, you look for an angle. How can this help me in this? How can this help me in this? How can this help me get ahead? And God showed me about 3 months ago, maybe 2 or 3 months ago, he's like, stop looking for angles. Stop looking at every connection as an angle. And start just letting me show you what the connection's about.
Yeah.
And because I was like, okay, well, I was selling recycling equipment. So I would meet people and say, oh, what do you do? Wanting to know what they did, but the angle was, do they work at a facility that needs industrial recycling equipment? How can I fit that in here?
Yeah.
And then with Make Wellness, it didn't start that way, but then I ended up doing, hey, let me tell you about peptides because I see that you're doing this. That's not all bad, but when it's not what God brought me to or what He's designed me to do to impact lives, He said, stop looking for angles on your own. Lean not on your own understanding. Stop using your own knowledge and your world's wisdom that He calls foolishness to find a way to help them. And let me tell you what they need. That hit me. Like,
Yeah.
that's a kick in the face. And I need that.
Sometimes you need that wake up call.
Because what is it? The road to hell is paved with good intentions. Like my intentions might have been good when I started. You got to listen to the new podcast with Taylor Welch though, because he talks about some of this stuff, the different tribes of Israel, and how some of them filter in. And this is one of the struggles on some of them is they end up seeking how to get ahead on their own versus letting God use the gifts that He naturally gave them to move ahead.
I have to listen to that one because of you. I got off into that, and then the first podcast I listened to, I was like, "Wow, we're getting out there. This is," and again, that just opened up my eyes and gave me some more understanding of a lot of things. Other than that, I've been like, no. But it's been a good journey, and it's going to continue to be a good journey as we continue to work through fear, to make wellness stuff, and furthering reaching people and helping people, and just trying to be the light God intended us to be. Yep. The unqualified light.
We don't know where we're going. Pattern breaker, unqualified. Those are good. So, I do want to get back to baptism. You want to do that?
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Let's do that.
So, yesterday, one of your sons was baptized.
Yep. Old Bryson, the handful.
So, I've known Bryson for longer than I've known you.
Yeah. Everybody knows
Bryson. Because our
Bryson.
kids went to school. Our kids go to school together. And Bryson's first impression of me was he was scared of me. That was one of the things, is he's scared of me. Which is fine. I'm good with that.
It's the healthy fear.
It's a healthy fear.
Which is crazy from a kid that doesn't seem like he fears much of nothing.
Yeah, no. They were at the house, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, or a week, the other day.
The other day.
He looked at me in here. You weren't here.
No, I wasn't here.
He looked at me and says, "Why do you look so scary?" I was like, I think we should dive off into that a little bit further. What is it about me that causes you fear?
He also refers to you as the mustache man. And every time he says it, I go back to that Shrek deal. It's the Muffin Man.
How did you?
Every time he says it. So the kid he's a handful. He's the most lovable, stress-inducing kid I think we have. I mean, he's all boy, without a doubt. Lovable. Everybody that meets him ends up loving him. I mean, he's a lovable kid, and which he has ADHD along with ODD, because the good Lord has a sense of humor, and wanted to stress me and his mom out. But he started on this journey, I'd say 2 years ago. He said in his deal at church camp, I got saved. You know, as before we were really in church, it wasn't until just a few months ago, especially with Lane, and I said something yesterday about Lane. I said I went to the, I guess you would call it a little grow class on a Wednesday night after Ignite, and Lane was sitting there explaining stuff, and I was like, I have never had that explained that way. Well, that really, I was like, I understand now,
Yeah.
and they want to make sure that, kids, when they want to accept Christ, they want to make sure they're not doing it because, hey, my friend's doing it, I want to do it.
Yeah.
And we end up, I think it was Easter Sunday. He really wanted to get baptized. Yes, he wanted to get baptized yesterday. So we go in, and I cannot think of his name. He was one of them helping with he helps with the youth. He was wearing the camo coat. And we walked in there, me and his mom did, in the family area there, as quiet as it could be with all the kids running around. And he talked to Bryson and to make sure that he understood the reason behind baptism. And I mean, he didn't miss a beat. And I'm like, there I am thinking the kid's just out in Lala, which his mom asked, because we went to that Wednesday thing, and they got a journal, and they write down in that journal as Lane goes through things, and then they'll read through the kids' journals to make sure they understand. If they don't, they work with them more because they want to make sure. And he told us, he goes, well, I thought he understood, but I wasn't quite sure. And Crystal goes, you really got to talk to him in the morning when he's had his medication, because at the end of the day, his medication wore off, and I mean, we're chasing squirrels all over the field. It's hard to get him to lock in and focus, and that was encouraging. That Sunday, it was after Easter service, to hear him say, this is why. And I'm like, he gets it. He gets it. So he was excited. He wasn't excited about being the first one yesterday morning. And it's a funny story how we ended up. We probably were going to be the first people to be baptized, but I'll save that little conversation for Crystal, because of Crystal and Shara Lee. Before it all happened, the lady came in and she's, oh, I'm putting y'all first. I was like, awesome, which we were like, we'd rather be first anyway. And it was exciting. Bryson was nervous, but he was also excited. He was excited about it. Now as parents and stewards, to keep helping him grow in his faith and be the example. Even though he still makes me mad, and I want to throw things at him. No, I don't throw things at him, but it's just,
real life.
It's real life. Somebody
real
goes, we should start a YouTube with that kid, because we'd go
viral
quick with him. It was, as a dad, it was a heartwarming moment. I'm glad you got to be part of it. That was when this all started. Was like, who? And I was like, I think it was Crystal. She goes, what about Josh? I said, that's it right there. Because of them, and starting with them, is where we've got to this point. So that was it was exciting. He was excited about it, and like I said, we questioned whether he understood the real reason behind it. Like I said, when we had that conversation on Sunday morning, Easter morning, after church, I was like, I didn't say it to his mom, but I was sitting there going, he gets it. He understands why we're being baptized. But he is a 12-year-old adolescent. So, I mean, they're still going to do things. That's one thing I liked about how Lane explained it. He drew a graph. He goes, when we give our life to Christ, we always on this uphill journey, but every once in a while we fall back down. Doesn't mean we've lost our faith, but we start climbing again. There's going to be those falls in there, but that doesn't mean you don't continue on your journey.
Right.
And that really spoke a lot to me. I was like, I've never had it explained like that. I mean, not dumb it down. Are you smarter than a fifth grader? Realizing that one, apparently I'm not. And I thought and I was glad I got to be in there for that. And even Crystal attests to that. Like, I've never had, like, explained it so simplified that it was like, what? So that was great. And I'm not going to speak for Crystal. And Crystal, I'll let her tell her story at another day. She was the second one baptized. I was the third one. We were a whole family, which this all also led into Clark has been asking.
Yes.
And that's exciting. And we're going to put him in the grow classes. Again, it's not like mom and dad have a talk like back when I was a kid. I went and told my mom and dad, which I was saved and baptized at a young age. And people are like, well, why? Some people might be like, why did you get rebaptized or re-baptized again? Because I'm like, I did it because everybody else is doing it. And all I did, they took me into the preacher's office and he asked me a few questions. Boom, next Sunday, you're getting baptized. But that didn't make sure that I completely understood it. I'm not pointing at whoever's on the other side of that camera. You listen to me now.
This could be you.
It could be you. In my deal, I told Crystal, I said, when you write stuff down, you want to write something so poetic that they're like, oh, we're going to write about this in the history book.
This story.
Listen to this guy. And it wasn't until I say 2003 on my side of it, I had a lot of questions, and I don't know why I delved off into that. It was just me. And I was headed out north of Decatur, and I had an old 1983 Chevy pickup. Love that pickup. I wish I'd kept it. Okay, we got to quit chasing squirrels here.
Okay.
And I had a blowout. And I had a blowout up north of Decatur. And I called my mom. I'm like, hey, I had a blowout. Could you come pick me up? And back in those days, Walmart was your only, or besides Decatur Tire, Walmart was your only tire store to go to.
No discounts available.
No discounts available. And Walmart had the cheapest tires because back then, I was married to my first wife and we had 3 young kids, so I had no money. So, a tire for a 3/4 ton pickup, I was like, $60. There it goes next month.
Those days.
I know, right? and I came to the conclusion on my own that I didn't fully understand, but I was having conversations with my mom, and I'm out there jacking this pickup up after she'd come. I'd taken the tire off. She took me to town, put a new tire on it, and on the way back, I asked my mom. I said, I don't feel that I was truly saved.
Sorry. Zip it. We're gonna leave that on there.
He wants to be part of this podcast. He's trying to tell his story.
Yeah.
For other your dogs that are listening.
That's right.
He's telling his story. And I got to talking to my mom, and I'm like, I don't really feel that when I got saved when I was young that I truly did it for the right reasons. And she's like, well, there's no better time than now. And I'm sitting on the side of the road, and it's summertime. I think I was headed to mow somebody's yard. I don't remember. And she's like, let's pray about it. I'm on the side. trucks just barely, 287 was crazy then, but it's not as crazy it is now. Trucks are just barreling by, and we're sitting on the side of the road, and I'm like, I need you. And that was it. I never went the next step for baptism. I know. And then I delved off. I went through a divorce, and then again, I went through that dip. And sometimes those dips are long. And it took me from 2003, 23 years later, to realize when this whole journey started back in September. When I started this journey, I was like, I'm missing something. I'm missing something. I need to follow through and publicly profess my faith to Him and be baptized. And the Lord speaking to me goes, that's what you're missing.
Yep.
And it took 6 months and talks over the past just 2 or 3 months with Crystal. I was like, I feel and the conviction and a lot of the services, because they've had a lot of services since we've been going there doing the spontaneous, what they call spontaneous baptisms. They already had people lined up to be baptized, which is what they had yesterday. Because normally when they have set baptisms, they had them earlier in the service, and that's what this one was supposed to be, and they changed it to spontaneous. Yep. And I don't know how, I've been to those, and I was like, I felt the Lord tugging at me like, you need to go do this. And I'm like, fear, I'm not doing that, because the person sitting way on the other side over there is going to say something about me. And what really helped me get to that point is in our Wednesday morning men's group that I go to. There's a guy in there, Mike Edwards, I think is his name. I think that's his name. He's in his 70s.
Yeah.
Got baptized 2 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And he goes, I've been a Christian my whole life. And I've been a Christian. And he goes, I just felt more or less that, and I'm paraphrasing here, that I need to do this. And he's in his head, he goes, I don't want to step out and go down and talk to somebody, because what are these people saying? Well, these people ain't saying anything. They're excited. It's That's exciting. Right. And he goes, it took another older gentleman walking down there, and he goes, oh. So he talked about, I think it was when he came in one day, he said, if Chris is out there, I'm going to talk to him. Chris was out there. And he goes, oh yeah, come back for the next service. He says, came back for the next service, got baptized, 70-something-year-old man. And I was like, okay. I'm like, there it is. There it is, right there. And we all decided, we're doing it. Let's do it.
And you led.
Mm-hmm. with my beautiful wife not behind me, standing right beside me, walking this journey with me.
Yep. It's a huge difference. Huge. Most people, we get to a point where there's a stage in life where that's not the way it always is.
It's one of those things you wish I would have came to before I was 45 years old, closer to 46 now, and wonder why sooner. But I feel it all happened at the right time. It all happened at the right time. I know you have that question. I wish I'd have had this sooner. We all wish we'd have had it sooner. But in God's will, it all happened at the right time.
His sovereign plan was still in place.
Without a doubt.
Regardless of how many dips we take, he's still going to fulfill the plan. Yeah. We just choose to be a part of it or we don't.
So, said all that to say this. Don't let fear control what you feel the Lord's leading you to do. Just step out. As I said, you only look like an idiot for a second. Now, those are harsh words. For you other people who don't like harsh words, you only look like a fool for a second.
Yeah.
So, and 99.9% of it is all up here. It's not because I think, what's Josh going to say? What's that person over there going to say? They're not going to say nothing. And if they do,
we don't answer. We answer to one, ultimately. Like, okay, so we look like a fool for maybe a second. To us, it may feel like it's months or whatever. And then it's like, well, I'm going to keep doing what God is asking me to do. He's constantly inviting us to participate in His sovereign plan.
Exactly.
And His sovereign plan, to a lot of people, look crazy. It used to look crazy to me. I would say, what are they doing? They've lost their mind. I would never do it. Now I'm going, how can I not do it? How can I not step out?
Oh, yeah. And you'll get those thoughts of doubt. But that's just the devil stepping in purposely to steer you off. And there's a song I really like that spoke to me a lot over the weekend. It spoke to me a lot many times. Everyone has a story to tell. You have a story to tell, so go tell it.
Because someone else needs to hear your story.
Exactly. That someone else is sitting on the other side thinking there's no one else out there, which is vast majority of people that you look at think, oh, they've got their life together. You don't see behind closed doors. They put on the facade, you know. I'd be the same one, be like, that guy's got it. Well, of course, at 2-3 baseball games ago, they probably like that dude right there. Because I had to drag Bryson from in a walking boot, and I probably shouldn't say this, but I had to, all the way back from the parking lot, kicking and screaming like he was mad because he got pulled out of the game because he was off in La La Land and he struck out. I'm like, there's no crying in baseball. And drug him back, and it's fun. And that was the deal. What are the parents going to say? I'm like, I don't care. People have said a lot worse about me. We're going to get back. And by the time the baseball game was over, he's fine. And unless you live in a realm of raising a kid like him, you don't quite understand. So it's easy to say. It's so funny. It's easy to say, well, I'd never do that. Well,
don't say never.
Don't say never. My dad said that one time. He goes, I'll never live in a trailer house. He spent 20 plus years in a trailer house before they built their house over here. I learned real quick. I'll never say never. So,
that leads to a whole nother conversation.
Oh, that's for another day.
Yeah, that's another one.
So,
power of words and what we speak, and
without a doubt. This has been fun. I've been excited. This is our first one. I've been excited about this since we talked about doing it. And it's so funny how we came to the decision to do this. And it was just when we all started getting together on this Make Wellness, I'm like, man, a podcast has been, I don't know what it is about a podcast, which is out of the realm for me because I'm not a very, I guess, I feel like I'm an introvert. Qualified? Yeah, I didn't feel qualified to do this. Oh, and I brought it up to you, and I mean, you should have seen the look on his face. It was like just glowing. Yes. Like I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for the right person to walk in and go, let's do this. And I want to say it was last Monday when we was over here. It was like, so when are we starting this? I'm like, when do you want to?
Next Monday.
Next Monday.
Let's go.
We're good.
So we're going to try to do this every Monday.
Unless my schedule changes at work, because I might get shoved back to Monday through Friday, then we'll just have to alternate. So Monday might become Saturday or Sunday sometimes. Who knows?
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes, we're going to make this work. So join just two guys going through this.
Follow together. Us. We'll let you know where we're going to be releasing everything.
Mm-hmm.
Since this is our first one, we're kind of winging it.
Yeah. I like structure, but sometimes winging it's just as fun because you never know where it goes. We could dove down rabbit hole.
I have so many things spiraling in my head right now.
Dad, it's like being in a tornado and like I want to try to grab that over there. Oh, let's talk about this over here. I get it. That's kind of me. There's so many things going and trying to stay on point.
I think next time, like, we'll try to like maybe talk about more of our story piece of it, and maybe a couple in we'll bring the ladies.
Wives in.
Yeah,
and y'all meet them. So maybe we'll get them to talk. They talk. Don't get me wrong. They talk. Sometimes they never shut up, but I never do either.
It's the same. Same. We're to that point now.
Exactly.
Like, we get to a point where we don't.
Hey, when you have good conversations, you can't stop. Sometimes it's just like, and then your wife's sitting up by the car, like, I wanted to leave 30 minutes ago.
I only have like a couple of friends like you that we used to make fun of how long our wives would talk.
Yeah.
And
now here we are.
Here we are.
It's like, we got appointments at noon and it's 11:55. Yeah. And like any other day of the week, if we're running behind, you're in a full-blown panic. Today's not that day.
It's not that day. We went to somebody's house the other night. We're going to wrap this up in a minute. But we went to someone else the other night, and he and I are talking. We hadn't been there that long. Really, an hour. I don't know. So we're talking, and I look up, and Geraldine's in the car. And his wife is, they had some family over there, so they're talking, and I look up, and she's in the car, and I went, she's in the car. He goes, what? They're done talking? I'm like, yeah, now it's us.
Yeah.
We're the last one standing. She's waiting on me.
Without a doubt.
It's like,
tables have turned. Which I guarantee our wives are in the house, and they've been talking, and they'll tell them about what, which is so funny. The last event I went to in Henrietta, Texas, county seat of Clay County. My wife has got to experience downtown Henrietta, Texas, which me being a lifelong Texas and gone through Henrietta, I've never got to experience downtown Henrietta, and I hear it's a sight to see.
Yeah.
Sarcasm inserted there. That they realized that they had a lot more in common than they thought.
Yeah.
Like,
and
it puts the right people in your life that you didn't even think, and they'll fill holes and gaps that you didn't even know were vacant.
That's right. He's got the people to put the connections and the puzzle pieces together to help us work as community, to pour into the lives of people, which is the whole purpose of everything that we're doing, whether it's a podcast, Make Wellness, walking people through identity, even our, my former job, currently what I'm headed into. I just want God to use us and put us together in a way that impacts our community and people so that they can experience transformation as we are experiencing it.
Exactly. Like, I don't know what they have, but I want it.
Yeah, that's right. So you guys stay tuned in.
Yeah.
We loved having you here. Thank you for watching, and hopefully we continue this.
I hope so. I mean, it's going to happen. It's great. I mean,
just turning the camera on, and just having a conversation.
Without a doubt.
So love you guys, and have a
God
great
bless
week.
Y'all.